as a X receiver, as a slot receiver, as a guy that you want to run your passing game through, I think he's a guy that by year 2, year 3, you'll feel really comfortable with this being your number one wide receiver.
Drake London, USC, 6'4", 219, 33-inch arms, 9 3/8-inch hands. Did not run at the NFL Combine, still recovering from that season-ending injury that he suffered about halfway through a season that he posted 1,000 yards in 6.5 games or whatever. Like, crazy production this year for USC. So, Dre, the evolution of Drake London's been interesting, right? Because in the past, he'd been a little bit more just a big slot guy. They moved him outside a little bit more often this past year. So talk about Drake London, his athletic profile, how his production comes, and how you see it transitioning to the next level.
Drake is an excellent athlete in terms of speed, and agility for a guy that's 6'4". He's a former two-sport athlete. He's played on the hoop team at USC as well. But he's someone who moves like a guy that's probably 6 foot or 6'1", man. I mean, he did a great job, this past year of being the primary guy and just made a ton of huge plays, man. I thought he showed the ability for a larger high cut guy to be able to create some separation at the top. He made a ton of big plays, and he was the primary focal point of that offense. And he consistently produced week in, week out. And I have no issues with him being a true X and being able to defeat press both with foot quickness and strength. So I think he can do all of those things. Teams are going to love this guy. He is a red zone problem in slant face situations and can just do a ton, man, and do a lot of different things. I think teams are going to love him once they continue to go through the process.
So let me open this question to you guys based off of something that Dre said. Talked about being the focal point of the entire offense at USC. Do we see that kind of role on his plate at the next level?
I'm going to say I think he can, and that's because he showed the ability to win inside and outside. When we talk about Dre, we talked about winning against the press. I thought he did a really good job of being able to sell that outside release and break back inside. And we know that that's the money down for quarterbacks, right? When it's that third and short, they usually like to get those quick passes and, just those for sure things that they worked on in the offseason as far as timing. And he showed that he can consistently beat cornerbacks doing that. And then on the inside, he runs with good tempo, with good patience. He's a contested catch guy. And even when you get to the red zone, you can line him in multiple different positions. So as a X receiver, as a slot receiver, as a guy that you want to run your passing game through, I think he's a guy that by year 2, year 3, you'll feel really comfortable with this being your number one wide receiver.
Well, he thrived with the volume of targets that he got this year at USC, had a ton of production. And one of those situations, I know we say this a lot, but like when you know a certain guy's going to get the football and be a priority and you still can't stop him, it says a lot about that player. And Drake London showed that. And for kind of a taller guy with high hips, I didn't expect him to have the ability to get in and out of breaks like he did on tape. And so that was definitely a plus. And he's got an occasional concentration drop, but for the most part, I see really strong, confident hands. And so the ball skills are there. And so I do think he's a guy that at the next level can command a high volume of targets and deliver.
The ball skills pop to me, but also Dre talked about him moving at times like a guy who's 6 foot or 6'1". And it's like when he first transitions out of the catch point, making the catch, and he gets his eyes upfield and sees that first arriving defender, how often did he make that guy miss?
Often.
And he'll give you the head wiggle and all that. And you just don't expect that from a guy that's 6'4" on the nose. And that was the most fun layer to his game for me, was seeing how he set up that first arriving tackler on the outside and consistently created yardage in short spaces. I mean, you usually don't talk about 6'4", 220 being a guy who's taking the flare route, a line from the slot, and you're hitting a quick throw for free access, and he's getting 14 yards on it.
Yep. I was literally about to say that, just in terms of his ability with the ball in his hands. I mean, for a big physical guy, he's obviously outstanding in terms of breaking tackles and dragging multiple dudes 5 yards down the field. But Kyle, as you were mentioning, hit him on a bubble screen, he's making the first corner miss, and he's taking it 15 yards to the end zone. We saw it multiple times against Arizona. I mean, my gosh, he is sensational with the ball in his hands. And so you have a guy you can get the ball in the quick game, you have a guy you can get the ball in the intermediate areas of the field, and even playing the ball deep in terms of his ability to get up there and track the ball. There's nothing this guy can't do. And so when you stack him against a lot of the other receivers in this class, you do talk about a guy you could really run your passing offense through because he can win at every level of the field.
It's a guy that carries an 85 consensus grade for our team, so he's hit that first-round valuation threshold on the nose, and he'll probably go higher than where he's going to be predicted or collectively ranked for our group. From a predictive standpoint, there's conversation this guy might be the first or second wide receiver off the board, especially now that he's fully healed from that leg injury that unfortunately ended his 2021 season prematurely. But Drake London, little doubt about the physical skill, the ball skills, the ability to create. Now it's just a question of what kind of offense he's going to land in.